I got a couple of little things I can tell you about Harry Gant real quick if you got
How
time.
about it? Sure.
Harry Gant and I became, pretty good friends, and I flew Harry a fair amount of time, in an airplane I'd sold him, and Mike Carr used to fly for me, and Eddie Mason flew for him some, and Harry was a great guy, but Harry's pretty thrifty. Pretty thrifty. So was Kel Yarborough and Ricky Rudd to somewhat extent. But all of them are great guys, and like I said, Ricky and I are still good friends. So is Harry, and I hadn't seen Kel in many years, but I flew Harry to Daytona one time. There's a couple of stories I'll tell you about Harry, but I flew Harry to Daytona one time. And we get down there, and Harry's, like I said, he's pretty thrifty, and he's too tight to get me in my own room, so I have to room with Harry. So the next morning we get up, and you know how people order room service, in their hotel room, and when they get done, a lot of times they'll just set their tray out in the hallway. So we get up the next morning going to a racetrack, and we're walking down the hallway. There's a lot of these trays sitting in the hallway where people order room service. Walking around, Harry looks down and says, "There's a perfectly good biscuit." And he picks it up and starts eating it. Yeah. So, I just shake my head. And then one time I was flying Harry to Atlanta. I was going to Atlanta Speedway. And right beside Atlanta had this little airport called Terra Field.
Yeah.
And this was back before they extended the runway and all. They've extended it since then. And it was a short runway, and it was a narrow runway. And the weather was marginal. And I was going to, and they didn't have, at that time, didn't have an instrument approach into there. So I was going to go into Hartsville and land. We was going to get a rent-a-car driver. And Eddie Macecup was flying Turley Bonnet today. And he had just he was getting ready to land at Turley. He said, "Hey, man, you can get in over here. The weather's not that bad. You can get in over here VFR." So I said, "Great, thanks." I told air traffic control I need to go back to Terra Field. So they gave me radar vectors over there. And Eddie and Terry had already landed. And sure enough, the weather wasn't all that bad. And I was going to land. It was raining a little bit. Had a crosswind. And I turned final in Harry's airplane. It was a Piper Cheyenne 1. It's a prop jet. And Harry always rode co-pilot with me. And Peggy, his wife, rode in the back. Rick Wilson, his wife, always rode with us. So I turned final in there, and I go to turn the windshield wipers on because it's raining. When the windshield wipers go, instead of doing this, they turn 90 degrees and doing this. So they're not doing me any good. So I just turn them off. Well, I go to put the flaps down, the full flaps to land. Well, the flaps won't come down.
Uh-oh.
Well, and I'm coming up on the end of the runway now, and I'm a little high and I'm a little hot. Well, the runway's wet, and it's short, and I got a crosswind. Safety comes first, so I just make a go around. And I come all the way back around and make a longer final approach, knowing that the flaps are not going to come down. So now I know to slow the airplane a bit more, and I come down and I land it, no problem. We're taxiing in, and Harry says, "Why'd you make that go around?" So Harry, I said, "Well, we're on a short runway, it's a wet runway." I said, "We got a crosswind, the flaps wouldn't come down. I was high and hot." And I said, "Safety always comes first. Instead of taking a chance, I just made a go around, slow it down on the second approach." "Yeah, but you could have made it." I said, "Well, yeah, maybe so." "Yeah, but you could have made it. You could have made it." I said, "Well, maybe so." I said, "But we're on the ground now and it's safe." "Yeah, but you could have made it." See, what he was worried about is that extra fuel it took to go around and make a go around. So we taxi in there, and I tell him, I said, "Well, Harry, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow morning when we get to the track, I'm going to come to your garage. I'm going to take the rear spoiler off your back of your race car. And I'm going to see how deep you drive it in turn one with no deep rear spoiler on that race car." He could relate to that, you see. But, yeah, so Harry had a lot of fun. And then one time we were going to Bike Week at Daytona, me and Lauren Edwards. And Lauren Edwards was a Piedmont airline pilot back today.
Mm-hmm.
And he lived at Lake Norman, about 2 doors down from Earnhardt when he lived on Lake Norman. And a lot of times he would fly Earnhardt. Mm-hmm. So me and Lauren Edwards were going to Bike Week, and Harry was going to go with us. Well, it was cold. And I had a Jeep, a Grand Cherokee Limited, and I had a motorcycle trailer behind it. I had my motorcycle loaded on the trailer. I go to Statesville Airport, and I meet Lauren over there, and Harry's there. And I said, "Harry, come on, we'll put yours on the trailer, and we'll go to Lauren's house, put his on there." And he says, "Now I'm going to ride. Man, it's too damn cold to ride. I ain't riding." Well, I'm going to ride. He had his leather coat on, his chaps and everything. He was going to follow us. So, meet Lauren there. Harry follows us down to Lauren's house. We're going to load Lauren's motorcycle at his house, and then we're going to go to Daytona. Harry's going to ride behind us, follow us. Well, We get down there within less than a mile or half mile probably from Lauren's house. You know, Harry years ago used to be a carpenter. Mm-hmm. And Harry's following us, and we getting ready to turn down this road where Lauren lives down near Lake Lauren. And Harry looks over, there's a house he had helped build it one time years ago, and he wasn't paying no attention. Of course, I slowed down to make his turn and go down this little road where Lauren's house. And Harry looked up and he's about to run the back of my motorcycle trailer. So he turns and he lays that motorcycle down. I hear it hit the ground. And I look in the mirror, and the motorcycle laying out on the road, and he's laying in a ditch. And so we pulled him. I said, golly, Lauren and Harry just crashed. I said, call 911. So we go down there, Harry's laying in the ditch. He got a little mud and dirt on him, motorcycle laying in the road running. Lauren turns it off, and Lauren called out. He's sitting there, he's moaning, and he's groaning a little bit. And he said, help me up. I said, no, I said, just lay there. We got the ambulance coming. Lay there. By this time, other people had stopped. And he kept on insisting, so I helped him up. I said, come on, get my car up here. And Lauren's house just right down the street here. We'll take you down there and clean you up, and I'll drive over to Mooresville to the hospital and get you checked up. And Lauren just ride your motorcycle down to his house. No, I want to ride, he says, I want to ride. Said, no, come on, get in. No, I want to ride. So we had to help him on his motorcycle. He was sore. He was hurting. So, you know, he insisted I couldn't talk him out of it. So we ride down to Lauren's house, pull in the driveway. He goes there and he goes to the bathroom. He cleans up, washes his hands up, and cleans up mud off. He didn't have any gloves on, so he scratched his hands a little bit. But he had his leather coat and his chaps and his boots and everything else and the helmet on. So we loaded Lauren's motorcycle on a trailer, and I said, come on, hop the car, I'm going to take you over here to the hospital to check out. Now I feel pretty good, I'm going to ride. I said, no, man, let's go over and check out. I'm okay, I'm going to ride. I said, okay. So we get in my Jeep and motorcycle trailer, we head down I-77 going to Daytona. Harry's riding a motorcycle behind us. We get down there, and I'm watching the whole time in the mirror, you know. And we cross 85 down there in Charlotte, you know, heading toward Columbia. We're going to pick up 95 down there out of Columbia. And we hadn't been far across 85 down there. And I see Harry back there kind of doing this, you know, he's swinging around. And he passes me. He throws his hand up like that, and he pulls over the side of the road there on his shoulder. The motorcycle lays it against the guardrail, and he falls off the motorcycle. I said, oh, crap, Lauren. I said, man, you better call the ambulance and call 911. I go over there, and he's turning kind of yellow. I thought he was going to croak on me on the side of I-77 down there. And he kind of come to, and he come back out. I said, Harry, just lay still. We got the ambulance coming. And I thought I was going to give him mouth-to-mouth recitation one time, mouth-to-mouth. And he come to and said, help me up. I said, no, just lay there. So he kept on, and I finally helped him. I got him. I said, sit down in my car. He sit down right here. So I got him in the car seat. He sat there in the car seat. And he was kind of turning, yelling on. And he passed out on me a couple of times. I thought he was going to croak on me. I really did. I was worried. Mm-hmm. So the ambulance comes. They put him in the ambulance. They take him to the hospital. We followed the ambulance over to the hospital there in Charlotte. I tried to call his wife, Peggy, and she wasn't there. So I get a hold of Larry Pollard, you know. Yeah. Larry was, you know, son-in-law owned LP Gear at the time. And Larry and I are good friends. So anyway, Larry shows up to the hospital. Well, he's in there, and they got him in there, and he's got all his clothes off of him, got him off, and he's got a sheet over him. He's there laying on that gurney in the emergency room. He said, man, it's cold. It's cold. He's been shaking. And we stayed there 4 or 5 hours. I didn't want to leave him, you know. And I think Peggy finally showed up and everything, and finally, we had a place rented down at Spruce Creek, a house we was going to stay in. And finally he said, well, y'all just go on. Ain't nothing y'all do here. So, and Larry Pollard was there, and Peggy showed up and all. So me and Lauren, we finally left. You know, we drove on down to Daytona. We get there at night, you know, we unload the bikes and our bags, take a shower, and get something to eat and go to bed. Next morning, get up. I said, well, I'm going to call and check on Harry. Well, I called the hospital up there in Charlotte. I said, Harry Gant's room, please. We ain't got no Harry Gant. I said, what do you mean? Ain't no Harry Gant in the restaurant. I said, yes, I just got him in here yesterday afternoon. He's there. He was in the emergency room. They was going to operate on him. They said he broke 2 or 3 ribs and said they think he ruptured his spleen. That's what they told me. So they thought he was going to have to do an operation. I said, yeah, he's there. No, he checked out at 8:30 this morning. I said, what? So I called Harry on his cell phone. He's home working on his fence at home. I thought, my God, you know, talk about one tough son of a gun. Harry's tough.
Not to mention stubborn.
Yeah, stubborn, yeah. Yeah, not to mention stubborn. He'd run on his fence. We got 2 or 3 broken ribs, and they thought he'd ruptured his spleen, too, you know. That's why he was turning yellow. So anyway, 2 or 3 weeks after that, every time we go to the racetrack, he told everybody in the garage there, they all heard about that motorcycle wreck. He told everybody in the garage that I brake checked him. I said, Harry, you wasn't paying attention. You went out telling everybody I brake checked you. I didn't brake check you. But Harry, there's Harry Gant's way and there's everybody else's way. I was up at his shop one time, a long time ago. He said, all Harley Davidson's supposed to be black, all Corvette's supposed to be red, and all Cadillac's supposed to be white. And I thought, well, why? I looked over there. Well, he had a black Harley Davidson, a red Corvette, and a white Cadillac sitting there. That's Harry Gant.
Yeah.
That's Harry Gant for you. So anyway, I have a lot of fun with Harry. Sure.